Ah, yes, we did forget the recording. Thank you, Waveform. Off my game here today. All right. And secondly, so for the Helium mobile wallet app, we would love it if you guys would test it out. Go update your app, drop a review if you like it on the App Store, on the Play Store. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. If you don't like things, please mention them in Discord first, and we will try and sort out those issues. If there's any problems that you're having, tag myself, tag a moderator, tag Waveform. If you're having any kind of glitches with the app, let us know. We want to hear about it. We want to know how we can improve it. If there's things you love about it, we'd love to hear those too. But if you do love it, drop us a review on the App Store. We would really, really appreciate it. Okay, and first up, we've got an engineering update. And it looks like Noah is already up here. So yeah, Noah, if you want to take it away, I think we've got an update on HRP 2025-05.
Yeah, so a lot of what we did in there was to get it so that you could change delegation more easily. Before you had to claim all of your rewards, then undelegate, and then redelegate. And when you undelegated, you would forfeit a day of rewards. Now you can change your delegation for free, basically. So you can switch from IoT to mobile or vice versa, and it doesn't cost you anything in terms of rewards. We also improved the delegation interface to sort of show you more on what you're doing. So for those of you that aren't familiar, if you have staked HNT, you get to choose to delegate that to either IoT or mobile. And you should be choosing that delegation based off of which subnetwork you think is going to provide the most future growth and data credit burn in the overall Helium network. So the more you delegate to one network, the more rewards that network receives, which means the more hotspots get deployed, the more data credits get burned, and it's kind of a virtuous cycle. So you want to really be thinking about that and delegating to who you think is going to burn the most data credits in the future, because that's going to lead to the most value for your HNT. So we, added to the interface statistics on how much data credit burn there is right now and what the current split is. We also added some features around automation. So now you can, instead of having to go daily or whenever and claim those rewards and approve a bunch of transactions, you can instead use this thing we built called TukTuk to prepay a little bit of SOL, and then it will automatically claim the rewards and they'll just land in your wallet for you. So both of those things are in the change delegation screen. If you don't want to change your delegation, but you want to enable automation, that's fine. You just click change delegation and you choose the same subnetwork that you already had. And then you enable the toggle for automation and it'll automate your claims. We've got definitely a lot of people already on this. We also rolled out automation for hotspot rewards claiming. So it looks like there's a couple thousand people that are taking advantage of this, and there's a lot of transactions running a day on TukTuk. So, yeah. Also, another thing that we built is just more of an example of TukTuk. It's not audited yet, but we built a fan out wallet. So it's basically a split wallet that lets you take tokens that go in and split them percent-wise amongst other wallets. I know that some people here are deployers and they have deals with businesses where you take 30% of the HNT. You can use that tool now if you want to make that automated.
Perfect. Yeah, I see Waveform also put a link about TukTuk in the chat there as well, so you can learn more about it.
Yeah, it's if you have 5 hours to just listen to Noah vibe coding, which is actually a lot of fun for some of us.
Yeah, I posted the link in the chat. It's not audited yet, but it's going to be you set how often it does the fan out. So even though it's not audited yet, if you're setting it to fan out once a day, there's probably not going to be that many rewards in it anyway. So it's a pretty cool thing. I'm definitely I've got a mall that I'm going to go probably deploy a hotspot in and set it up with the restaurant owner.
So Waveform just posted, is this wallet or hotspot split?
It's like a wallet split. So the way I would use this is in the wallet app, you can change the destination of rewards for your hotspot to any other wallet, right? So what I would do is I would go create a fan out wallet. Let's say I'm, deploying it with this restaurant owner and I tell him that I'm going to take 20% of the rewards and he's going to take 80%. I would create a fan out wallet. I would take 80% of the rewards and direct it at his wallet address. I'd probably onboard him to, something like Fuse that's easy to use. And then 20% to my wallet address. And then I would copy the wallet address of the overall fan out because the overall fan out just looks like a normal wallet. And I would set that as the destination of the hotspots rewards. So now every time I claim, the hotspots rewards go to the fan out wallet and the fan out sends it to my wallet and his wallet. And you can stack the automation so you can automate the hotspot claims with TukTuk as well. So then the whole entire thing is on autopilot. The rewards come into the hotspot, they go into the fan out wallet, and they go to the people buy shares. I hope that was clear. I'm realizing now as I say it, it sounds complicated, but it's really not too bad.
I think that makes sense. I think the question probably is more for larger deployers if it scales out, right? Where you've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 hotspots.
Yeah, it definitely helps for larger deployers, and especially like where you have multiple hotspots that are split amongst the same people in the same way too. You can direct all of the hotspots to the fan out wallet. Eventually, these things will be like this fan out will probably become a feature of the the wallet app and other applications that we plan on building. But I like to get things out first and just let people play around with it. So please, if you're a deployer, go use this and let me know what you hate about it. Let me know what you like about it. Let me know what topologies you end up creating, like what your setup is, because I don't want to assume a certain way of implementing this in the app that is not actually the workflow that deployers are using. So go use this tool. It'll be a little bit hacky at first because it's a separate UI, but eventually we can nail down how people are actually using this once we have a few hundred active users on it.
Cool. Yeah, that answers actually one of the questions in the chat is, can we add this feature inside the Helium wallet? So hopefully soon. Go out there.
Yeah,
try it.
the way that we'd consider adding this to either the hotspot dashboard or to the wallet would be like once we get feedback on whether or not or how this could work. Specifically, it is generic and want to reiterate the fact that it's still unaudited code. And so like I don't want to sell it more than what it is. But it is intended to be experimented with, and it is and that's sort of the style that we wanted to at least launch this. I think that our belief is that with TukTuk claim automation, which is you can have your hotspot rewards claimed on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, and with fan out, you could probably build everything you need to manage a fleet of hotspots where you have some kind of split between an owner of a hotspot and maybe a deployer or maybe the host or someone like that. So it's supposed to be generic. We're not trying to build the perfect tool for every single deployer because I think it'd probably be impossible. But I think at least something generic like this where we could support 1, 2, 3 splits. I think it's doable.
Yeah, not that it probably matters for most use cases here, but this thing can support an unlimited number of wallets in it. So if you really wanted to have it, send 1% of funds to 100 different wallets, it can do that. I don't know why you'd want to do that.
Oh God. You will be paying for it. Just to be clear, this is not a free service. It is you are paying the sole fees for every one of these transactions.
Yeah, worth noting that you're paying the sole fees. We're not taking a cut or anything, so it's mostly just like rent costs. And then a transaction on Solana costs 5,000 lamp ports, but when you're getting it automated, it costs 10,000 lamp ports. So you're paying, 0.0002 cents instead of 0.0001 cent. That doesn't make that big of a difference. The rent is kind of the biggest cost in creating one of these, but you can recover that when you delete it, if you ever delete it.
Cool. Yeah, well, thank you. I'm looking forward to playing around with that myself. All right. Did you have anything else for us, Noah?
Did I miss anything, Abai?
No. I wanted to just mention a couple of other things. I guess we are going to talk about this a little more later with votes, but if folks have noticed, there's no HRP yet for June. But since we have a lot of folks that are delegating, we're planning on just issuing a no-op, that is no protocol change HRP for the coming month, and that'll go alongside the other votes that are going on. And that's really just to like establish a cadence from an engineering perspective that we are going to at least have something like even a kind of a tombstone on a monthly basis.
Cool. So, sorry, just to clarify, that would be a vote still.
Yep, there'll still be a vote. So the proxies can still do their vote, and so anyone who is proxied to them can still get credit for that.
Excellent.
And
Okay.
Jay, good question. Is it necessary since we're going to have working group votes? I think it's still useful to just have something as a regular cadence. I don't want to lose the muscle memory. Yes, if anyone votes no on the no-op, I have questions. I have many questions.
Well, now you know people are going to do it.
I mean, I might do it for fun. No, just kidding. I won't. That would be insane.
So if no passes with the majority, are we forced to go back and implement something?
Challenge accepted. All right.
Challenge accepted, indeed. That would be special. That's for sure.
Cool. Do you have anything else for us? Bye.
I guess the other thing, it's not in our it doesn't seem to be in our agenda. I want to just acknowledge one thing that was shared by Coinbase yesterday. So Coinbase decided to remove mobile from its standard trading pairs in the US and actually across its platform. This is something that we expected at some point. It was just a matter of when, not if. We kind of expected it to be after August, and at least that's based on conversations that we had many months ago with them. And they kind of decided at this point to sort of make that change. It looks like they bundled the change with some others. So for folks that don't know, Render migrated from or is migrating from Ethereum to Solana. So they also delisted their Ethereum version of Render in favor of the Solana version of Render. So this is sort of like in their that they described it as an upgrade. It's their first tweet didn't, but their second tweet described it as an upgrade. So folks that haven't been around for whatever reason, I'd be shocked that folks on the community call aren't aware. But we did approve a migration back to HNT only. We did stop minting mobile to hotspot owners. This is like yet another reminder of that. But this is Coinbase kind of following through on their plans to do this as well. Anyone who has mobile on Coinbase can withdraw it to the Helium wallet app and swap it directly in the app. It uses Jupyter in the backend. It doesn't take any fees today, and we've never taken any fees in the native swap interface in the Helium wallet app. You can also directly swap it into in any Solana wallet, via Jupyter, and it will get you the sort of best current price. So that means if the treasury is the right price, or if there's a Orca AMM or something like that that's providing a better price, you'll get that best price. You can do this yourself with your wallet. We can't take the tokens from you. We can't take the tokens from your Coinbase account. That's just not how any of this would ever work. So like just a reminder, this was kind of expected. It was just a matter of when, not if.
I think there was some
Did
confusion.
Nova
on the-
ask?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think there was some
Sure.
confusion on the wording that they used as well, which was something about mobile being replaced with another token. I think they were the wording was just confusing to the community, which is obviously not the case. There's nothing replacing mobile; it's just going back to HMT.
Yep, that's right. That there was some confusion around the wording. The question is, did Nova ask for this to be done? No, we didn't specifically ask them to do it today or last week or anything. This is listing decisions like these and removals are entirely in their control, and we weren't consulted before they made the call this week either, for what it's worth. We expect that other exchanges do this as well. It's entirely on them. Would I expect every centralized exchange to eventually delist mobile? I think yes, and really just a matter of when, not if. Good reminder from JB in the chat. The treasury rate won't be the best until August 1st, so keep that in mind. What he's specifically mentioning there is the fact that the mobile treasury continues to receive an HNT emission through August 1st. So there's sort of the best possible swap rate for mobile is likely, and it'll be actually fixed after August 1st, unless someone just starts burning mobile randomly in their wallets. So yes, the best rate is likely going to be on or after August 1st, and it'll be actually fixed at that point. I think the last calculation that I saw in the community was something around 7,500 mobile to HMT, but if someone wants to update me in the chat, please do. JB's thought is 7537. He's keeping a running tab. All right, JB, when dashboard? I like it.
Cool. Just pausing there to see if there's any other questions before we move on. See, Siegfried is typing, so let's give it 1 second here.
Glock, the wording being weird. Yes, they also have a standard set of wording for these kinds of things, so I suspect it's a person who just kind of writes these regularly, just using their standard wording. So like that's just, they try to standardize. At least that's what I've seen with a lot of exchanges in the past.
Yeah, I think it made sense for the other tokens there. I think it just didn't apply to ours. That's at least how I read it.
Mm-hmm. But I actually appreciate the fact that a lot of the community on Twitter responded, talked about this stuff, tried to calm the sort of folks that are potentially reading this stuff. So there's a lot of content out there. So well done.
Yep. Good call out.
Siegfried's still typing. Why don't we move on and then we can come back?
Yeah, sorry, Siegfried. Okay, well, we'll come back to that in the chat. All right, thank you, Abai. Really appreciate the update.
For sure.
Okay, next up. Do we have Sam up here? We do. Perfect. Give us a grant update, Sam.
Yes. JB really is the all-knowing on-chain sleuther. So,
absolutely.
Short but really, really important update. So I think a lot of you probably saw that around, 10 days ago, Helium Foundation announced our $50 million dollar coverage grant for network builders over the next couple of years. Super, super, super excited about this. I mean, just given where the network is at in terms of having real demand, in terms of carrier offload, growth of Helium Mobile, like we truly believe that helping builders expand coverage on the network is the most important thing that we can be doing right now. So just a call of action to you can go to helium.com/grant, and I'll put it in the chat after. It's already in there. Nice waveform. In order to see if you want to get involved. And just as a refresher, this is both two different grant programs sort of bundled into one. One for Greenfield on the hardware side, so minimum order of 25 hotspots, and hotspots must be deployed in either selected for carrier offload or deployed in commercially viable locations as determined by our foot traffic. And if you have any questions about the criteria and whether this is the right fit for you, like please feel free to reach out and we can talk you through it. And then on the brownfield side, a minimum of 100 access points to be converted. Same policy around being positioned in commercial locations or being selected for carrier offload. And that will sort of work in a different way where you get sort of a payment per access point converted. And the more that you're willing to commit to, the bigger the bulk deployment bonus that you can receive. And so the best way to go about this in terms of getting into our pipeline so we can be organized is going to the helium.com/grant and filling out the form at the bottom so we can route you to the right place to get started. Of course, I'm also always available if you want to reach out to me. So that is the call to action there. And then one other small thing is that, we're super excited now about having this coverage grant program live. One of the next things I'm starting to think about is making a real push around education and standardizing the process by which everyone can feel comfortable, approaching hosts. I feel like we have so many great deployers in here with so much knowledge about everything from the proper setups to how you approach a host to how you negotiate, the terms that you have with your host. And I've had a couple of conversations with some talented folks in here around potential workshops, fact sheets, things like that. If you think you would be a good fit for that type of thing, we're certainly open for business for grants in that regard. So, putting some money towards the problem, but also really trying to educate and widen the aperture of deployers that we have. So that's it for me, Keenan. But if there's any questions, happy to answer.
Thanks, Sam. In regards to people reaching out to you, is there a certain way you prefer on Discord or email, anything like that?
Not really. I'll put my information again as usual in the channel, but email's great. But again, if you fill it out on the helium.com/grant, it's just easier for us to immediately get back to you.
Perfect. Yeah. If you could just pop it in the chat, that would be fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam. I'm just going to read it out here for the recording. So it's slewis, SLEWIS at helium.foundation if you want to reach Sam. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay. Next up, we've got events. British guy, you've been patiently waiting. I know you've got a huge update for us. Let's go.
No, so of course we're in the full spring, spring event season, right? So the last 5 weeks have been pretty busy out and about on the circuit. So I think I actually missed last community call because we're over in Dubai for Token 24/9 where we had a Brian Scott on the ground there speaking, doing all the stages. So what I'll do is I'll quickly do a quick run through of where we've been the last month, and then I drop in the link as well where you can go and see those talks on stage and recap if you weren't able to make it, and so you can sit there and have a listen in on what was spoken about there. So we had a Brian Scott in Dubai, like I say, for Staking Summit and Token 24/9, April 29th to the 2nd. We then had some team members over at Salt in Bermuda, which was always an interesting one, talking obviously about the legal and regulation side of the industry. A lot of things have changed up under this new administration, seemingly all good things from work perspective, without getting into the politics side of it all. So everyone's staying up to date there and sharing the knowledge base there. It's always interesting to do. Joey was over in the IoT Barcelona, May the 13th to 15th, supporting Law Alliance. Frank then was over at Consensus Toronto, same time, 14th to 16th. And then obviously we just had Accelerate in New York. Solana's sort of like midpoint new conference they're testing out maybe to, are we going to have Breakpoint over in the US soil next year with everything that's going on over here? It was pretty good turnout. I think there was about 3,500 people turned up for that event. Noah gave his talk on Tuk Tuk. I'll drop that video in the chat there. It's worth a watch if you're onto that side of things. And then obviously Abai was on the main stage as well, speaking about the network side of things, giving an update there of some of the successes we've had recently. We are now currently over in Vancouver for Web Summit. Amir's actually going to be over here, and we've got a talk coming up, Telco's Uber Moment. So hitting that sort of like tech audience, and 15,000 people are over here, and boy does it feel like it. The streets are buzzing. And then, so that's all what's been going on, sort of thing, on the last month. Upcoming, we've got Permissionless in New York. So that'd be a good one. If you're actually in New York, keep an eye out, because there's lots of ad campaigns going out on the mobile side of things as well, which is fun. Taking over a lot of the billboards, metro stations, city bikes. I mean, if you see it out there, grab some pictures and put it on the socials. It'd be good to see them all out there. What have we got on here else? Out on stage, excited to announce Helium House, Abu Dhabi, December 10th. Be there. So the day before Breakpoint over in Abu Dhabi, everyone's going to be there from the Solana ecosystem. It's a great time to bring the community and our team together and share sort of like the year in review success and just celebrate the last year that we've had together, because it's been a big one. We've done a lot of stuff, so bring everyone together and speak about it. And then all the talks, all those events that I mentioned before, you can go to Helium Road Trip page and you can watch those recaps. And obviously, if you want to speak anything about events, you can reach out hello@helium.com and we can chat and see what's going on. Or if you've got some ideas and things as well, just give us a lowdown on what's going on. But I think that is it in a quick rundown. Let's go. Oh, you dropped in already.
That is perfect. Yeah, there's a link from Waveform as well. Helium.com/road trip. That was a lot of info. We've had a busy few months, weeks, whatever. It seems like it's all blurred together.
Event season, it's the spring and the autumn. It's just sort of like go.
Yeah, and Abu Dhabi, that's super exciting. I think a lot of people have been asking for another Helium house, so that is.
We've secured a good spot. The space is secured. The stage is going to be fun. It's going to be a good day.
Beautiful.
I'm excited for it.
Well, stay hydrated out there. I know you're a busy guy, and looking forward to all the content coming out of there. So thanks, Nikki. All right. Next up, we've got an update from Relay. Actually, I'm just going to invite you up here. 1 second. There you go. We've got Elijah from Relay giving us an update on their product.
Thanks, Keenan. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you great. Take it away.
Awesome. What a great community call today, and excited to share a couple of words about Relay API and what we're trying to build here. Thanks so much for posting the link in the chat. Quick context on Relay: if there are people who haven't touched the platform, what we've done before. I'm Elijah, co-founder of Relay. We've been a long-term deployers of Helium. Of Helium's infrastructure and devices since ever since the ICO and ever since the project really became public. And as we've deployed a bunch of hotspots originally ourselves in 2021, kind of one of the big challenges for us was to manage those hotspots. And so we've built a Relay platform, which I can see by the people on this call. Many of you, I spoke to many of you, and many of you touched the platform, tested the platform, and used the platform maybe even today. And one of the big challenges from kind of developer perspective on Helium was always access data and then process payouts to hosts, which excited for Noah to be pushing some automation there. And really kind of over the past year, we've been trying to take more of a data approach, especially ever since Helium has moved over to Solana and kind of went away from their original REST API towards the S3 buckets and kind of dumping all of the data there. And so one of the big problems with data always was kind of accessing it, which which Helium's original REST API was, extremely popular back in the L1 days. Everyone loved it. People used it. I think many of us hit the rate limits trying to get those 20,000 API calls every single day. And ever since Helium moved over to Solana, and kind of, it was kind of smart decision from their side to move over to S3 for less maintenance, just kind of, being more straightforward with managing that data on their side. I feel, the general feeling in the community became that, it became really inaccessible to kind of non-technical folks like myself to really get the data outside of the platforms, right? And there are many reasons why people need to get data, right? We got amazing people on this call today, like Helium Geek who provide the data, and then Relay who provide the data through the platform and through the UI. But sometimes you just got to get your hands dirty, and kind of sync all of the data for like past couple of years, things to that nature. So we're excited to announce, which we kind of did earlier this month already, but on this call, that we've built Relay API for that, and that's really our kind of attempt to resurrect the way I like to call it, Helium's original REST API, right? We want to make sure that anybody, technical, non-technical, to make it super easy and super simple for people to just get any of their Helium data they want, kind of in the open source simple fashion, using no-code tools, or kind of developing it straight into your apps or whatever kind of things you're building, especially in the kind of zero code vibe code age. This is very important. This becomes even more important. And we're excited to kind of be building this with Helium Foundation together. Sam is on the call. He's been helping us with the grant, and we're very excited to have Helium Foundation support behind the project. I guess a couple of things to mention here in terms of how this is going to work. We are determined to open source Relay API in the kind of Helium's open source nature and crypto nature, and kind of I guess nature is not really the right word, but like, push towards the open source and making sure people can see how things are done and really can inspect and build trust with the code and with the project. We're going to be open sourcing the Relay API's backend and how it interacts with S3 and how everything is built upon the public launch, which is scheduled for July. So keep an eye on that. Relay API is already available in beta. Beta is important to mention, only serves data for post-Solana migration, so ever since the Helium migrate over to Solana and introduce oracles. And we are actively working on adding all of the pre-Solana migration data, all of the layer 1 data into the API. And our goal here, again, as I mentioned, resurrect Helium's original REST API, meaning get all of that original data in from 2020, 2021, etc., and serve you the full history, kind of full snapshot of Helium's data at any point in time. Any of you guys need to sync that. We are, what else I wanted to say here? We are in beta serving only earnings and activity. Again, that's Oracle data. But our big goal is to also introduce some of the Solana on-chain data that will be packaged in the API, again, towards the push, making sure that Relay API can be the kind of, a successor of Helium's original REST API, where you could also get wallets and get all of the hotspots from wallets and, sync all of those kind of supplementary things. So it's not just going to be earnings, which is served today in the beta, but eventually going to grow to include all of the supplementary data for Helium hotspots and for Helium network. And API beta is free. Important to note. So anybody can go to api.relaywireless.com, which thanks so much, guys, for posting the link in the chat. Sign up, get your API key, and start using whatever tools you're using that's compatible with everything to query the API. Kind of the final point I'm going to make here, and feel free to go to services and hardware section of Helium's Discord community, where we have our own Relay channel, and feel free to ask any questions. Me and my team are there supporting with any assistance needed. We are trying to build it in a kind of, for two use cases mainly, right? As I mentioned, for non-technical users to be able to use it simply with no issues and with no complexities, I guess that's the better way to call it. and for also like in highly performant way for any kind of developer to be able to come in and really structure the query and really kind of get the data that they need in a very performant and kind of low cost way. And so the API is has the REST portion of it and also has the GraphQL portion of it for my developer folks here. So feel free to test both. Feel free to play around. And feel free to get us any feedback. Looking for you guys to break it and bring us some use cases and say, hey, we would like to fix XYZ or add XYZ into it, which I already see some people start posting in the chat here. We'll take a look in a second. I guess that's it. If there's any questions, feel free to hit us on the Relay channel, and we're excited to open source it and make it a whole API for all of you guys to kind of augment that S3 complexity. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elijah. That was really concise. And as no, that's great. Super clear. I really appreciate it. As Elijah mentioned, it's actually there's a channel called Relay, so #Relay. You can pop over there. Him and his team have a Relay Discord role, and their name is Blue, and they've got a little icon beside them, so you can identify them really easily. Jump in there, ask them questions. Super cool team. All right, thank you again. All right, and next up we've got a Helium mobile network update from Joey, who is now on camera. Hi,
I'm
Joey.
going video on. Right, you gotta show.
Yeah, love it.
Anyway, I'll keep this pretty quick. I've been part of all of this travel, and then I also was a little bit sick last week, so my updates are brief here. But importantly, we've been seeing a lot of traction on the Wi-Fi network with converting or adding Wi-Fi Helium capability to existing networks. And so folks will remember we talked about Ubiquiti and Meraki and all these other manufacturers. Excitingly, we just published yesterday a guide for Juniper Mist. And this one came from a community member who wrote this. And so then we got that all adapted and put into documentation. And then right up next on deck is a MikroTik guide, which is also coming from the community. So if you are an operator of that hardware, keep an eye out. And then next on the docket is Fortinet. So there's a draft of Fortinet in my queue, and so we'll get that up there as well. So a lot of work happening in terms of getting all of these brownfield guides together. This is enabling folks who are MSPs, network operators, etc., to go and add that Helium functionality to their networks, whether that's in the self-serve configuration where you're going and just enabling Helium Mobile, or if you're reaching out to Nova Labs and doing this full Helium Plus enablement where you can do carrier offload and all of this other stuff. So pretty exciting to see that growing, and I'm beyond excited to start seeing some of this coming from community members writing these guides. One other little thing that's been happening in the background here is we announced World for Business. Internally, we've been calling this the Carrier Toolkit. This is a version of Helium World that is directly catered to supporting the MNO and MVNO operators who are using the Helium network to be able to target regions where they need coverage, to understand the implementation that they are getting through Helium, the amount of data offload that they're handling, things like that. So we've been working directly with these MNOs and MVNOs to understand their needs and use cases, and then building directly to that. And so it's super exciting to have that out. And I wanted to save a little bit of time because Mario also has some updates. So I'll hide from video so I'm not distracting from him.
Thank you, Joey. Also, since we're doing this camera thing today, I think I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody. So yeah, I do have a couple of updates I wanted to quickly give and I thank you so much, Keenan and Waveform for letting me kind of jump in, because this has been like literally less than 24 hours so prior to the agenda of this meeting. So I do have a couple of updates about on Mexico Movistar. So for the ones that were waiting for more expansion zone in denser area, we just got approval from Movistar to add a more denser area around Oaxaca, which is one of the two, right now is the biggest center of deployments for hotspots. So in the next couple of weeks, you'll see more expansion zone in the Oaxaca region that will be added. The reason why it's very good, it's a win for all of us, is because this will unlock the potential to capture more subscribers. But also, one very interesting thing that I think it makes it even more interesting is that Movistar is pledging commercial resources to do subscriber acquisition in Oaxaca. What does it mean? It means that together, as with the network grows, they will try to use the network as a way, the quality of the network as a way to acquire more subscribers. Again, it's very infancy, but this morning we just had a call a couple of hours ago with their commercial team. They're looking at activation on their Movistar stores in Oaxaca. There are 3 of them, and as well as, of course, website for hotspot sales and things like that. So it's not only this will unlock denser areas, but also it will kind of prove the model that this type of network can drive subscriber acquisition, which is something, by the way, that we've been doing at Helium Mobile for the longest time, as you can see from our activities in New York just last week. So that was the first update. So more denser area coming, and we expect this to be the first of many throughout the next months. But for now, let's just focus on that. And the second part is let's talk about data activation. There's been a lot of questions in community when and how. So the latest, so we are actually proceeding pretty good with, for the ones that don't know, there is this automatic, what is called carrier bundle, which is this automatic update of the SIM card so that people can automatically be connected. We're going one by one to all the OEMs, working with Movistar. We got several Android brands like Oppo, like essentially Huawei, Xiaomi, and now we're working with the Apple guys to do the carrier bundle. That is going very well. As supposedly we should be able to hit June timeframe for delivery. The backend side of things, meaning the connection between the hotspot backend and Movistar backend, that is being worked on by Movi, and their current estimate is, which should be final, it is the end of August, beginning of September. So it's a little later than what the initial time frame was, but still, this is still on track, and this is still, we're having weekly, and in many cases more than weekly sync ups with them. So situation it's going as supposed to be, as opposed to you expect for a telco. But I just wanted to give this update because I know there's been a lot of questions around where do we deploy in Mexico, and we wanted to add those denser area and when this data activation will start happening. So with that, I'm just gonna leave the stage again, and thank you again, Keenan and Wayfrom, to kind of wave me into the conversation, and happy to answer any question.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. Happy to have you anytime. Appreciate you going on video too. That's awesome. Just pausing here for a second for any questions. I know you've got limited time, but we'll just pause there for one moment. Looks like Joey's fielding some questions in there.
I'm just laughing about Siegfried's non-crypto hyperspeed. No, I think we're probably squared away on a little network update for now. But you always know where to find us, and of course, there's the mobile working group tomorrow for more of this kind of Q&A.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it there, and that's a good segue into the next section, the working groups. All right. So first up, we're going to get an update. Sorry, excuse me, from the mobile working group.
Okay, I'll hide again.
So 2 updates. First, I believe the odd class is up for election. So there is a bunch of election seats. You need to submit your nomination form before May 31st. The link to the nomination form is in the working group channel in Discord. Second, as far as the ongoing conversations, the important one is around a new concept for a POC called utility probing, which I think was actually evangelized by Joey, but I've taken over the initiative and been working on shaping it towards a HIP, the draft of which I expect we'll be discussing tomorrow. Just to remind everybody of how POC works today, to put things into context, right now it's tied to primarily your location. So if you have a hotspot in high footfall location, there is various ways that we attempt to verify that your location is indeed as advertised. And then if that is the case and you pass the sort of standard quality metrics like backhaul, etc., you get paid POC, which varies as a function of how good a location that is from the footfall standpoint. Utility probing will do away with that and will lean heavily on the existing relationships that we have with the carriers. We have 2 of the 3 big MNOs currently in the US that are actively offloading traffic to hotspots or are looking to offload to many more that are not part of the program yet. And we have devised a way to, with permission of the MNOs, to actually use their subscribers' phones to scan and collect metrics on performance of the front haul of the hotspots. And then we can use that as both a way to figure out how much POC a hotspot should be earning, and very importantly, also pre-qualify the hotspot for the inclusion into the MNO offload program. This is only going to work in the US because this is where we have very high density of subscribers. The logic is that if your hotspot is in supposedly the high footfall location, but none of the 2 big MNO subscribers are able to see it or collect quality metrics with respect to its front haul performance, then likely something is wrong. Either you're pointing it to the wall, or maybe it's on the map in a good location, but it's actually on a roof of a very tall building and no subscribers are able to connect to it. But this will allow us to switch from using the location and our assumptions about how good the location is as a proxy for the POC rewards to effectively the hotspot's real capability to offload carrier traffic. The proposed details of how this could work, I've drafted and will be presenting at the working group tomorrow. So everybody who is interested, I'm encouraged to join the working group and participate with questions and comments. That's it for my updates.
Cool. Thank you very much. And yeah, just a quick note. The last working group, I believe, was skipped, correct? So there's no recording from last week.
That's correct.
Okay, got it. So if anyone out there is looking for a recording from last week, there isn't one. The working group did not actually meet last week. However, they are meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific, and you can find it here on Discord. Just click the events button, and yeah, it'll notify you when that starts. Thank you very much, Boris. Appreciate it. And Joey, if you want to come back on up.
I'm back. Cool. Yeah, quick update for the IoT working group. I'm going to reiterate the elections are open. So we've got a couple of incumbent folks who will be reapplying. For the folks that are incumbent that have not yet reapplied, I encourage you to do so. We have one member who will not be reapplying. They just started a new job and need to focus a little bit on that. So this is a great opportunity for the broader community to think about getting involved in the IoT working group. And I'd love to see you in there. We work on all sorts of cool stuff. As a reminder, a portion of the IoT Ops Fund is allocated for us to sort of help guide and deploy. And so we've been doing a lot of work helping grantees or prospective grantees come into the pipeline and make sure that they're successful in building really cool tooling or features or functionality for the IoT network. I just want to give, like, I guess, just really quick little shout outs. Neil has been working, this is actually not an IoT working group grant, but is a neat one. Building a device manager that sits on top of ChirpStack to bring back that old cool console functionality that we had back on the Helium L1 into the world of ChirpStack for device management on the IoT network. It is nice, played around with it, and it's been cool to see it really rapidly evolve. And then I think just as a matter of process, we also oversee a lot of the work on Deny List, and we just had a rollout of a new Deny List batch. So some gaming that was going on has been taken care of, but we largely look to the expertise of Star Watcher, who is another IoT working group member, to make sure that all of that stuff is happening. And he's been doing a fantastic job of that. Yeah, let's leave it there. We've gone long on our call. But for any questions, hop in. I don't know, just tag me somewhere, or any IoT working group member. Everyone's quite an expert, and jump in for those elections.
Awesome. Thanks, Joey. Not to be outdone. Of course, I had to hop on and say hi and represent. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah, that brings us to the end of our call. So just a quick reminder for everyone, the IoT working group meets on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Again, it's in Discord here. If you click the events tab, the calls, both mobile working group and IoT working group, are recorded. They are posted in the IoT working group channel and the mobile working group channel shortly after the call is done. If you don't have time to listen to the entire recording, there's also a summary that gets posted in those channels as well. So feel free to read through those. And yeah, please join in and jump into the calls, ask questions. We would love to have it. The next, I'm just seeing that. I did not change my shirt. Fun fact, this is pretty much my entire wardrobe. So yeah, I don't know if that's cool or sad, but next community call is scheduled for June 25th. Once again, you can find that link in our events tab here in Discord. This call, once again, is recorded, and it will be posted on both YouTube and Vimeo, I believe, and we'll also have a call summary. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and yeah, we'll see you next month. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.